Just wait. So how are you?
नहीं.
कितने शरीफ हो जाते हैं हम एकदम से.
The calm before the storm.
Hello. How are you?
Hi,
You
Clayton.
okay? Can you hear me? Yeah,
We're
not
good.
bad.
How are
Hi
you?
there,
How are you?
Clayton.
Happy to hear your voices.
Thank you. Happy to hear yours.
Can you see me?
Not yet, but I think
No,
it'll
yeah.
maybe take a few more seconds.
Oh, right.
Sometimes
Okay.
it just takes that little bit longer. Are you in Wales,
No.
Clayton, right
No,
now?
no.
Or?
No, I'm in Manchester.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How are things over there?
Yeah, as well as can be, really.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think it's the main thing's your health in it. So
Absolutely.
we've been
Yeah.
lucky. We've been lucky at the moment. My wife lost her dad in December. It wasn't.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we're more or less trying to look after her
Yeah.
mum because she's
Yeah,
alone now.
it's tough. With
No, there's a lot of people worse. So
yeah, London's really bad. London's under the cosh completely.
yeah. It sounds like there could be another stint of it coming as well. So
Yeah, that's what they're saying, that they're worried about that with the next wave in the winter. I was due to be back in London on the 28th of March, and I just felt things were getting a little bit too tense. So I said, all right, I'll delay the flight. And now, almost 4 months later, there's no signs of a flight. So
yeah,
so
it's crazy, isn't it?
yeah, it's just who would have thought? Yeah, we were just hoping they would cancel the season. That's all we were worried about. But no,
Yeah, I think everybody was thinking that. Everybody was Man United.
Yeah,
fan.
we're all thinking that would be great. Something.
Yeah, I can't believe the bloody Germans, isn't it?
Always them, isn't
If
it?
they had to come back. But I mean, they'll be testing before the game, after the game.
Yeah.
You know, they won't leave anything uncovered. It'll be interesting how we deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Norwich had someone the other day who tested positive. So
against Spurs.
Yeah. So, and we play Spurs in a day.
Sunday,
so
is it Sunday or Saturday?
Is it it's
Friday
Sunday?
night.
Oh, is it Friday night? Yeah, I don't even know what day it is.
Yeah.
I've just been playing in a golf competition, so my head's a bit mashed.
Okay. Are you doing well? Yeah.
It was weird. I was doing really well for 14 holes, and then I had one bad hole. But I'm playing against people who play with McIlroy.
So
I turned professional a few years, 5 or 6 years ago to play in the seniors, to play with the seniors. So today I'm playing with a lot of the younger ones, Jamie Donaldson, Marcus Armitage, they're all on a tour, Ashley Williams.
That's right. Fantastic.
So I played really well, except for one hole, really.
That's how golf is, isn't it?
How bad did it get?
Pardon?
How bad did it get? That
hole? Oh, you don't want to know, honestly. I'm hitting the fairways, and I'm dropping it on the flag. I'm getting birdie putts all the time. This hole, I put it right in the middle of the fairway. I've got a 7-iron, which is easy. It's a little bit below my feet. And what was happening? There was thunder. We had thunder and lightning.
Oh.
So mentally we thought, we're not going to finish this now. It's going to be called off. And I started playing quicker, and I just swung a little bit quicker and mishit it.
Clayton, can you check? It says here that your camera's off. So maybe that's why maybe that's why we can't see you. Are you using your phone?
No, I'm on a laptop.
Yeah. So
where would the camera be on that?
Ismaeel, if you
bottom left corner, you should stop video and start video again.
Yeah.
There you go.
Legend.
Jesus.
There you go.
Technology.
Yeah.
I'm old school.
It's changed.
Sorry.
No, it's changed a little bit. We were just discussing today. I mean, I'm the oldest of this lot. You signed youth forms a year after I was born. So
did I?
Yeah.
Thanks. It's good to know that one.
You look younger than me, Clayton, so you're okay.
Yeah.
Clearly doing something right.
Obviously, you can't see the wrinkles on there.
No. You would never be able to tell. You look like you could be on the field tomorrow if you felt like it. But thank you so much for taking the time out to come out here and talk to us. We have an official supporters club in Pakistan. We're about 100 plus paid up members from 6 years. So we're an actual official Manchester United supporters club. A lot of younger people, you know, they don't know as much about the history. So we want to speak to you. We spoke to Keith Gillespie yesterday, which was great.
Yeah,
we spoke to Lou Macari also, which was fantastic, you know, to learn a little bit about that time. And then obviously you
the dark ages of
Louis.
It's funny.
Lou says
I actually bumped into Arthur Obiston today as well. He was at the golf course.
Yeah,
I mean, Arthur obviously played. He was young when Louis was playing.
Yeah, and then of course, you know, the first you played under Ron, and then you were there when Sir Alex came in, and you were first choice for him going through that whole time. I mean, I remember I was still young, but I remember losing the title to Leeds, and thinking, you know, that was.
I've wrote a book, and in the book I said we changed the shape of the team that season. Obviously, I meant the gaffer.
Yeah.
But, you know, he picks it. I mean, for me, 4-4-2 is the best system in the world. Yeah. It'll always be the best system. British teams were winning in Europe, obviously, before we started coming into it. They won 7 times in a row.
Yeah.
When we came back into Europe, I remember Mark Hughes, my roommate, he was playing in Germany, and the Bayern Munich was saying, we must win this season. The English teams are back in next year. They were scared of us.
Yeah. At that time, the dominance between Aston Villa, Liverpool, even Everton, you know, Ipswich winning the
FA. Spurs, everybody were winning in Europe. You're right.
And then you guys with the European Cup Winners' Cup as well. Yeah. It was the first European trophy since '68, wasn't it? So. Yeah.
I mean, the big thing for us was obviously we were back in Europe, and we didn't want to prove the Germans wrong. Obviously, they said the English teams would be back. We're going to start winning again, which we did. And, you know, it was great, obviously, to beat Barcelona as well in the final. You know, put the icing on the cake, beating a team like that. I mean, they won the Champions League the following season.
Yep. And, you know, Hughesy doing it. So we're live now on Facebook, Clayton. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for taking the time out to come here, speak to us. Someone of your stature, it means the world to us. Ismaeel will get us started.
Yeah,
Okay.
So welcome to the show, and it's obviously a huge honor for us to have you on the show as well. We've had several Manchester United legends so far, and you're quite a big name as well. So welcome from all the Pakistani Manchester United supporters. And as we're live now, I just wanted to start off with how were you presented your youth forms, and did you have any offers from other clubs, and what went before your signing?
Yeah, it was, how many clubs? I didn't go. I went to 11 clubs, different clubs, Burnley, Coventry. Where did we go all together? We went all over, Spurs, Tottenham, Cardiff, Swansea. I went to quite a lot of clubs when I was 12, 13. I went to United. I was sold straight away, really. I went to Leeds United, which from 10 till 14, I was actually a Leeds fan. Shouldn't tell you that. But, you know, obviously at 14, playing for United, I stopped supporting them. But, you know, I went to Leeds on trial, and I didn't like it there. I went to United. I loved it straight away. I fell in love with United as soon as I got there. It was weird because about 2 weeks later, I just signed schoolboy forms for United. And a Man City scout was in South Wales. He was asked me to come and have a trial at City. And I actually felt funny. I've just signed for United. I'm sorry. It felt quite good to say that.
So you've rejected Leeds and Manchester City as well. So you were a legend at the start.
Well, it was funny because I was actually at United when my mum and dad went to Spurs and Arsenal. I was up at United and I couldn't go there. They wanted me to go on the same dates, so they went there. But I didn't like London. Before it was a bit too mad for me. Manchester's a really nice sized city. I didn't like the one-way traffic.
So, who was the youth coach who presented you the forms, or was it Sir Alex?
No.
Eric Harrison?
No.
Was it back then?
Ron Atkinson was the manager. Yeah.
Well, it was when I went up as a schoolboy. Dave Sexton was in charge, and the year I moved up on when I turned 16, left school. Big Ron came in at the start of that season. Dave Sexton got sacked after winning 7 games in a row, and then Big Ron came in. So the first manager really at the club was Big Ron.
How did the conversation go then?
Which part?
The signing.
Well, obviously Big Ron didn't know me from Adam because he's been at West Brom. He's playing in for, he was in the Championship then, but I'd never really spoke to Ron. It was a different kind of thing. I never got. I probably trying to think when I first spoke to him. I'm not sure when I first spoke to Ron. It was a smaller area. The academy now is at United's on one side. You've got the first team on the other side. The old days were in the cliff, so you'd meet each other every day. You'd have to pass the manager somewhere along the line to go for lunch or go getting changed. So it was probably just in the corridor at the cliff.
Clayton, when Sir Alex came in after Ron was sacked, were you playing regularly for Ron at the time?
I thought I was playing quite a bit for Ron at the time. But Ron was he loved his big names. And the biggest thing I found with as a kid coming through, especially a big club like United, once I got into the team, Friday is like, for me now, and I was playing all the time, it's a relaxed day. You do a little bit of training, you don't do much because you got a game tomorrow. Yeah. And you want to save your legs for the game. You don't want to, but when I'm growing up, I get in the team and now I'm having to work really hard on a Friday morning to make sure I'm still in the team. You have a bad session in training,
you don't get picked. Yeah.
And they don't pick you. Brian Robson has a bad day on Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Monday, all week. He can have a bad day all week and he will play. There's a difference. Because and he's earned that. But it's much better for him because he can control what he does on that Friday. That was the biggest thing where I think coaches didn't realise in them days. You can't work too hard on a Friday. If you work really hard Friday, you leave your legs on the training ground.
You were a regular from when Sir Alex started. You were playing more league games than you'd ever played. He obviously trusted you. Did you have a relationship of the kind where he would tell you that, Clayton, yes, I believe in you, you'll be starting for me? Or did he just tell you to go out there, do your job, and your performances kept you there?
It was like, I had a funny start with him, to be fair, because I got married and I had a honeymoon at the start of the season. So I booked it with Big Ron. Sir Alex brings us back a week earlier. So and I speak to him, he went, yeah, you're okay. Not a problem. He had no problem. But when I came back, the boys had been back a week before me. When I went back, I never saw the lads for a month. He just pinned me for a month. It was like, go and get fit. And I'm like, but then after that, once I got playing, for me, he was a better manager than Ron because he would play people who were playing well. If you're playing well, he'd keep playing you. It wasn't, I remember playing I played 3 or 4 games for Ron, and I thought I played well in all the game. I got picked for Wales because of one game, and then he drops me and obviously Rob was coming back into the team, but he could have left somebody else out. Well, I thought there was a few others who didn't play anywhere near as good as me. And that was, for me, that was the only thing I had against Big Ron.
And you played regularly for Sir Alex. You're part of that first Premier League side. I wanted to talk about the season before. A lot of young fans don't know, before the Premier League, we had a really close title race with Leeds that we lost. And most of us at that time thought, will we ever get back to winning? Because at that time we were reaching 26 years. So as a player and as a team, what was going through you guys' head because you'd come so close? Was Sir Alex relaxed, or did he feel, to you at least, that you guys, because you'd won an FA Cup, you'd won the European Cup Winners' Cup, you were winners, did the league feel like a step too far at the time?
No, for me, like I said, I wrote a book. I didn't get through that story. I've wrote a book, and for me, if you look at the stats, we played 21 games up to Christmas, 4-4-2, and we scored 42 goals. Then we changed to 4-5-1. For the next 21 games, we scored 21 goals. Half the goals, playing one up front. Don't play one up front, man. It's too easy for centre-backs. I've played in every position. I played as a centre-back. And if you play one up front against two, it's easy. It's too easy. Way too easy. And for me, if you watch the next game you watch the centre-halves off the ball and how much running they do in a game. They don't run anywhere. They've got to be losing their fitness every game they play because they don't really run anywhere. They jog up the halfway line, they jog back. Now and again, they'll play against somebody who's really quick, and they might have to have a run around maybe. But you need to work them. And when you play two up front, the two centre backs have to work, and obviously they're bigger as well. They're usually bigger, taller, and they don't want to run around all game. That's when they start making mistakes.
Right.
All right. So since you talked about this yourself, that you played all over the field, which position did you prefer the most, and why didn't you cement one position as your own in the club?
Yeah, that's a good question. I really like playing in the middle midfield because I'm a ball player. I like playing balls in behind. I like to try and break a team down. I mean, I watch us play a lot of the time now, and we go sideways too much. And obviously playing fullback, my first thought is, can I hit the centre forward? If that's not on, now these days it's never on because there's only one up front. I wouldn't even bother thinking go forward. When I played, there was two up front: Mark Hughes, maybe Frank Stapleton, maybe Eric Cantona. There's two players up there working the two centre backs. So even a bad ball could turn into a good one. Now with two defenders against one, it's not an option. Now you're playing into midfield. But in midfield, I really like that because you can get forward, you can try playing balls in behind, down the side, and then you get into an area where you can shoot. And I think David Beckham wanted to be in the middle as well. Yeah. David is the same. He's a fantastic striker of the ball. He wants to be in a position where he can shoot a goal all the time and score goals. But, he's one of the best crossers he's probably the best crosser I've seen. I mean, he learned from me, obviously, growing up. But no, he was a great crosser of the ball. For me, probably the best. But I really like playing in midfield. But if you'd have given me one position, I'd have gone centre forward. Because you don't have to do anything. You have to score a goal there. Score a goal and you're the best player on the pitch. Yeah. And you could have a stinker for 90 minutes.
So you've obviously talked about David Beckham's crossing, but you weren't too bad yourself when it comes to free kicks. I just wanted to ask about them, that they were your specialties. So did you work on them since you were a youth player, or did you practice it with someone in the squad?
No, I was from a kid. I was when I was little. See, this is where everything's changed now with the Premier League, with the coaching as well. Kids now play with smaller goals, smaller pitches. When I was 10, 11, I was playing on a full-size pitch. The ball came out of the box. I'm shooting because the goalkeeper's like 2'3", and I'm playing in big goals. So I score over 100 goals every year, just shooting, aiming for the crossbar. And, I think I don't think it's a good thing that they've changed it where they get more touches. I've watched it. You get more touches, but you lose the ball more as well. It's like teaching them how to lose the ball because there's no space. You need the space to learn to run with the ball, dribble, pass to somebody who's in space. In a smaller area, there's no space.
And obviously you played with the class of 92 as well, since you've mentioned David Beckham as well. So did you ever think they would reach the heights that they would eventually in their careers?
No, not really. I mean, to be fair, talking about David, like I said, my last season at the club, they all came into the reserves with us, and we won the reserve league for the first time in 36 years, I think it was. And, it was me, Robbo, it was playing Mickey Phelan, Dion Dublin, and then we had all the kids were in. Scholesy and all them. And I mean, Scholesy was playing up front with Dion, and you could tell it wasn't his position because he wasn't big enough. So you could tell he had everything in his game. Even then, you could tell for me, he was the best then because he could just play balls. He had the touch, the vision. He had everything. And I mean, he scored over 90 goals from outside the box. That's pretty good. But they were all good. Keith, I've played with Keith since. We play legend games now. Keith is better now for me than he was when he was at United. He scored I must have played 20 games with him in the last maybe 8 to 10 years, and he scores a hat-trick nearly every time we play. Obviously, he's got that pace still, but his finishing's scary. He probably mentioned it, did he, when he was on last night?
No, he didn't actually. Clayton, you were part of the clubs, under Sir Alex, you won the FA Cup, which a lot of people say saved his job in 1990, and then the European Cup Winners' Cup. Winning those trophies, did it change the sort of, I don't want to say culture, but did it change the environment around the club that suddenly because we'd won trophies under Ron as well. We were seen upside, but winning the big European trophy and winning that, and Sir Alex finally getting the success, did it give you guys the belief, and now with the young guys coming in, that going forward, maybe not too far in the future, you felt you were putting together a side that could challenge for honours? Yeah,
well, like I said, for me, Leeds didn't win that league that season. We lost it. We handed it over to him. We were actually going after games. I remember we were going into the bar back at, when we got back to Manchester and saying, why are we changing the shape of the team? We were doing great. And when we were playing 4-4-2, teams couldn't live with us. We got Giggsy and Kanchelskis, Sharpies there as well. Nobody could handle us. I think we put 6 past Oldham on the AstroTurf. And it was, for me, we should have won the league that year, definitely. That was, for me, that was one. I mean, the champions, when you win the league, it's usually, they deserve it. But for me that year, we've beaten Leeds 3 times. We beat them 2 or 3 times in about a week.
Did you guys get to talk to Sir Alex about the change? Do you think he realised that, okay.
You know him. Have you not heard of him? No. Take a brave man, that one. And it take a brave man to blame him as well. I'm not blaming him.
No, we won't let him.
I blame the players.
So you guys won those trophies, and now you're a side that's the Premier League comes in, things change. There's a lot of excitement. A lot of people forget we had a pretty poor start to the Premier League. We
lost to Sheffield, didn't we?
Yeah, and we weren't dominating. And did what was your reaction like, having lost to a Leeds side with Eric Cantona, but then find him on your side for the rest of the league?
Well, I mean, like I said, when he was playing for Leeds, he never bothered us because we beat him. We didn't lose. We played them in the FA Cup, League Cup, two league matches, and we drew one of them, I think. But we won the rest of the games. I mean, in the game, we played them at Elland Road. I think both cup games were at Elland Road as well. But we beat them 3-1, and I scored from left back. Scored a 35-yarder. We play him again 4 days later, and Alex leaves me out. He says, I want to attack him more. I was like, I've scored the 35-yarder, and we beat him 3-1. But we end up winning 1-0. I think Mark Hughes scored the winner in that. But, it's all. I mean, I always remember the manager saying, managing's about making decisions and believing you're right with them. Sometimes he got right. He got lucky but you need that. But I think for me, Leeds weren't. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, sorry. Was Eric coming in a catalyst, you feel, for the success that led to that first Premier League title?
Like I said, for me, we were in a better position, halfway through that season before than the following season with him when he came in. But what happened then? You've got a fantastic top striker who's come now to help us. It was easier then, and it got easier and easier then because he was so good. And then obviously the blend of the kids coming through, you know, it just helped everything. But I think what happens, like I said, we win the FA Cup, then you go on your first team back in Europe for 5 years, and all of a sudden the confidence. Then we beat Red Star Belgrade, who won the European Cup. All of a sudden that confidence is growing, and football's all about confidence. Footballers themselves, they need to be confident what they're doing. And it's like I say today, it was one shot I hit today on a golf course. I wasn't confident when I went to hit it, and it cost me a round. But that's sport. You have to be confident in what you're doing.
All right. I'd like to go back a little and talk about the time when Sir Alex Ferguson was really close to being ousted from Manchester United. How was the mood at the club with the players and the fans? And were you people in the know about how the manager was close to being sacked, or how was it at that time?
Well, I mean, for players, it's different. You know, you look at it. I mean, it's like Ron. When Ron got sacked, we didn't see that coming. Obviously, we'd not been doing great, but you know, when he comes and then you think, oh, we've got a new manager now, we're going forward, and then he's crazy. You wouldn't believe how mad he was when he first came to the club. You know, and the hairdryer thing, you don't know what a hairdryer is. It's like a V8 hairdryer, and you know, it's proper telling offs, and you know, he tried to change the club, and he did. He changed it in the end. It was a drinking culture. He tried to change that straight away. We should have changed it. We should have listened to him. I mean, I was listening to him, but you've got other people who've got their own rules. Like Robbo was quite a big, you know, player at the time, captain in England and United, and he had his rule where he didn't drink 2 days before a game. Looking back, we shouldn't have been drinking. Full stop. You can have the odd drink now and again, a glass of wine, but we were drinking too much drink. But he tried to change all that.
You've spoken about the hairdryer, so obviously that caught my attention a lot. Is there any story you'd like to tell us about facing one of it, or being in front of one of it?
I was lucky. I've got I only had two off him. One when I was playing, and then one a year or so ago. I mentioned somebody's name from the club, and he says, "Don't mention his something name," and I'm like, "Oh, right." But in the half time, he came in and he gave me a bit of a hairdryer. He's on the top. I'm just sat down. He's touching my hair. I can feel him touching my hair, screaming at me. But then what you do, if you look around the room, all the lads are like trying to make you laugh. They're all like that. They're trying to make you laugh. And if you laugh, you're in serious trouble. I mean, the worst one, I think Gary used to get it a lot, Gary Pallister. I think it's because he's a bit of a lazy player, fantastic player. For me, he was key. We needed him more than, like I was going to say, Eric. I think if we'd have had Eric and not Pallister, we wouldn't have won the league. Pally was such a key thing for me. And
Sir Alex always used to say Pally looked knackered in the warm-up. He looked like he would.
Yeah, but he couldn't. He honestly, in training, he didn't run around. So you're only as fit as what you work in training. So, you know, he used to walk around. We'd be running. He'd go, right, sprint up there and back. And we'd be going again when they're still coming back. You know, he'd be jogging with Incy or something, having a chat. And he was one of the fastest players at the club and one of the fittest. He didn't need to do all the running. He was doing it every day in the games. So, you know, Pally, centre back, like I say, you don't do a lot of running. But for me, he was key because he was 6'4", crosses into the box. The teams we used to struggle to, because we used to beat Liverpool a lot in the old days. And you go down to Wimbledon or somewhere, and they just bombard you, and we couldn't handle the bombardment. With Pally, we could. That's where it changed a bit for us. And I think ever since then, we had really good centre halves as well. I think that's where we're nearly in the right place again now. Not quite.
Clayton, I remember reading in Ryan Giggs's book, he said that when he first came to the club, if anyone would bug him a little bit, yourself and Mark Hughes would always say, leave the Welsh lad alone. And were the three of you at that time, because we had I mean, we've got Daniel James now, but at the time we had a very strong British core. Players from Northern Ireland, players from Scotland, players from Wales. It's something we asked the other players that we former players as well that we spoke to. How come we're not seeing as many players? Because Wales are doing well now. Are United just scouting as well in Wales as they were before?
Well, see, again, the Premier League. Come back to the Premier League. They brought in a rule where you can only play for the team an hour away from where you live. Now, if that rule was in when I was playing, I mean, at 15, I was still in school, my last year in school, and I played at Old Trafford in the Youth Cup semi-final. Mark Hughes scored the winner in that game against Spurs. Terry Gibson had just played his debut for Spurs. So I'm playing against somebody who's played in the Championship, the top league, English league, and I'm still in school. Now, I would have to play for Swansea or Cardiff until I'm 16, and then Man United would have to pay for me.
Yeah.
How can that be right? That just can't be right. For me, it's so wrong that a young footballer leaves school and there's a price on his head.
Because it changes everything for the player, for the family, for the club. Yeah. You know, you're talking about players being signed for millions of pounds age 16. Going forward, it's not the same. I doubt they paid you a lot when you signed on.
Didn't pay me anything. No, I think they gave me a tracksuit and a pair of boots. But no, I mean, you were Manchester United. You were happy to play at United, but like I say, at that age, I was still in school and I'd played for the youth team. So I mean, I played in the youth team 3 or 4 years, and but now it's so wrong for me. And I think, like you say, it's not coincidence. There's no less well. It's the first Welsh player since Ryan.
Yeah.
We've not won anything since Ryan went.
No.
A bit of a coincidence. No. We need Welsh players.
Absolutely. We couldn't agree with that more. And then, Clayton, there was that thing in Ryan's book also about the day before you guys won the league. I think he needed Aston Villa or someone to go out and lose. And he spent the night at your place and woke up the next morning and he said, I had, Clayton's cat's hair all over me, but I was so happy that the two of you just headed out for a champagne breakfast at 9 in the morning. What was that like when you won the league without having to kick a ball?
Very weird, very surreal. And after 26 years, for me, it was the wrong way to win it. I mean, it's funny, Villa are playing tonight. The league started again. Villa on tonight. And I'm just saying, I'm watching Villa play Oldham and they didn't get the result they needed. So we won the league. And it was just, and then I'm like, all right, we've won the league. I was just sat at home on my own. And you're like, what do you do now? And obviously I rang one of the boys and within half an hour, we're all in Brucey's house.
Celebrating.
Yeah, I'm not sure what time we all left. Quite a few didn't leave. There's quite a lot that didn't leave. I think you're looking at, I could have left about 5 in the morning or something, but half of them didn't leave.
So then you guys have won the league. The year after that, having won the first league, and then you go out and obviously you get the double. At that time, with Sir Alex, was there, in your opinion, was he now more confident having won the league? You guys were the dominant side, that he felt that, you would come on. There was Paul Parker, yourself, Dennis Irwin, there was a lot more competition for places. So did you feel in the long term that was good for you guys going forward from having won the league to have more competition for places, better players? You were, I was reading that you played in every shirt number from 2 to 11.
Yeah, I was in competition with everybody.
Yeah. 16, so for yourself at that time with your versatility was obviously a huge asset.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he knew he could rely on me on any of the positions. For me, I think a lot of players could do the same thing. But I'm a ball player, so wherever I am, I can hit a 50, 60-yard ball. So it helps if I'm playing defence. All of a sudden there's a lot of people who can't do it. You'll get people and they won't do it. I mean, I won't be scared of it. And I've had loads of run-ins with Brian Robson. He's there, and I've gone bang, I've hit it straight to Mark Hughes, or I've even gone over the top for him to run in behind. And sometimes they don't make a run, it just goes straight out. And then he's shouting at me. But you have to break a few eggs. I remember Scholesy saying that. You have to play them balls. You know, there's going to be the odd one which doesn't get through, and then all of a sudden, bang, when you got people like Ryan Giggs, you need to be putting balls in behind for them so they can run in behind and terrorize teams.
Yeah.
Clayton, around the time, around 92, they changed the back pass rule. So how did that affect all the fullbacks and centre-backs? How did the game change for you people that time?
Well, obviously, there's a bit more pressure on you because you've got to deal with it. You know, you can't really. It depends what your goalkeeper's like as well, and you know that the goalkeepers were okay, but they weren't great. I mean, the game's changed more for them, I think, than anybody. The goalkeepers are, you know, they've got to be good with their feet now. And I think if you look at goalkeepers when they're growing up, all the coaching's about you need to be joining in. You need to join in with the football. You need to be a footballer now, really, as well as. I mean, catching the ball is not very hard, is it? Let's get it right. Punching the ball and catching it, tipping it over the bar. But for me, I've seen a massive difference in the goalkeepers now than they were 30, 40 years ago. The agility, the speed they move. It's getting harder and harder to score from distance.
Okay, so Clayton, I'm going to get in some fan questions in. I'm reading a few, and first of all, they're all thanking you for coming on, and they're very happy that a person as great as you in our club's history is on. And I'll go first with Chaudhry Ahmed. Can ask if Clayton thinks if he thinks the current rebuild is going in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is we've got a Man United player there at the helm. I mean, we've got two there, Mickey Phelan's there, and you've got obviously Ollie in charge. That's a massive step forward from where we were before, getting people we don't know. I mean, Van Gaal, I met him and he's a nice guy, but it's the worst football I've seen Manchester United team play. Jose, everybody knows what Jose's like. It's more about him, and United has always been, there's nobody bigger than the club. And you know, I think his ego is bigger than the club. His own ego. He probably thought that. But you know, first season he did really well. You know, he's a clever manager. But when you get to a certain stage that year, how did it go wrong? I don't know how you lose that. That's the difference with Sir Alex. He got the recipe, and he kept building on it. He thought, right, he's getting a bit old, we'll get somebody in to replace. And he kept replacing people with good players all the time. So we had different teams. Every 4 or 5 years, there'd be 3 or 4 or 5 different players coming in and strengthening the team.
Yeah, that was actually the greatness of Sir Alex, as you said, the first Premier League title. And then the class of 92 he changed, and then the Champions League team, and then 2003 onwards as well.
I tell you now, a class of 82 would have beaten the class of 92. Class of 82, Norman Whiteside, Mark Hughes, that was the front two. I'm trying to think who was up front for the 92 boys. Now we had Graham Ogg.
Robbie Savage, maybe.
Robbie didn't play up front. I think he played on the left, didn't he, Sav? I know Sav. I think he was more on the left. He might have been up there. It was Kieran something his name was, I think, the centre forward. But we had a lot. There was me, Mark Dempsey in midfield, who played in the first team. Graham Ogg played against Maradona in that Barcelona game at Old Trafford, 3-0. Yeah. Billy Garton, he played in the first team. We had a lot, but to be fair to them, they had a lot of lads who played like Scholesy, and I mean Ryan was already in the first team. But they had a good team. It would have been an interesting game because we were a tough team.
Yeah. So now we have 3 famous teams: 82, 92, and 2011. When under Paul McGuinness, we also won the FA Youth Cup.
Yeah. Mr. Pogba.
Pogba, Lingard.
I was coaching with them then. I was coaching at the time.
Oh, that's great.
I didn't teach him anything. He was like that from the start. See, I think a lot of players, they are what they are. When you see them at 12, 30, like Marcus. Marcus at 12, I thought he's your next Ryan Giggs playing left wing. And then when he got to 17, we put him up front because we didn't have any centre forwards coming through. Yeah. Mason Greenwood, he was what he's doing now. He was doing when he was 12. Left foot, right foot, free kicks taking free kicks with his wrong foot. I've never seen anybody do that. I've always been the free kick taker growing up, and even when I got to the first team. And I was good with my left foot, but you never take a free kick with your wrong foot unless your name is Mason Greenwood. He's a class act.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned, I would love to ask, how high do you think Mason Greenwood can go?
He could go to the top, man. He can be special. I think we need to play him just off the centre forward. He's the only centre forward who's come through our academy as a striker. But what he used to do, because we played one up front in the academy against two big gorillas, they're like massive centre backs, and so they never get a kick. So he's clever. He drops off into midfield, get the ball, and then run at the defence and tear them apart. That's what he's good at, running at defenders. So he needs to be the one who drops off from centre forward.
And you also named Mark Dempsey a while ago. Is he the coach who's with Ole right now?
Yeah, he is. I think he's not well at the moment. I think he got in pre-season. He wasn't well this year, so I think he's not working at the club at the moment because he's looking after his health.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, I think he went with Ollie over in Norway.
Yeah, at Cardiff as well, I think.
Yeah. He's a typical Mancunian. Him and Billy Garton from that team. Billy's a tough lad. You know, they were really typical Mancunians, them two. Salford boys.
Okay, so the next question is from Namanza here. Under Sir Alex Ferguson, what did it take for a footballer to become a United player? Any specific characteristics? What was the golfing class?
Well, I'm thinking for any kind of, when you get to a certain level, you got to be sticking out a bit. If you go to watch a kids game, one of the kids will be probably sticking out more than everybody else. And it's more likely that'll be the one who he'll go on to play for a top team. Or you need to have a little bit, I think. Like I say, growing up, I can't really think what I was. I mean, I played a lot of football above my age group. I mean, I can't even remember playing my own age group. Now and again, I would play my own age group, and it was a doddle. It was so easy playing my own age group because I was playing 1 year, 2 years, above my age group. But I don't know. But I've got the best players, Ryan Giggs, people like that, who can dribble. When you can beat 3 or 4 players dribbling with the ball, Messi, Ronaldo, they're your top players. For me, the best players in the world, that's Maradona, Messi. There'll be a few others as well.
Please name Ronaldo. You've played for United.
I just mentioned him.
Yeah.
Do you not hear him? Yeah, Ronaldo's the best.
Okay, that's great then.
He is. For me, he's the best I've ever seen.
That's a great compliment for him as well. Qasim Mustafa has asked, as someone who was made player manager at 2 different clubs, why does Clayton think the role of player manager isn't as dominant in modern football? And how would he describe his own experience as player manager at the clubs he carried out that role?
Well, obviously, mine was in the Welsh League, and obviously the players aren't as good. That's why they're in the Welsh League. So it's harder to get what you want them to do. I can actually show them what to do, but I'm probably better doing it myself than getting them to do it. But no, it was very difficult. But you just have to work with the players you got. I remember we had a centre forward who could run so fast, and I was playing fullback, obviously, and I used to just put him in all the time, over the top. He was in all the time. He'd have 5 one-on-ones with the goalie and not score. So all the training was on him, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, trying to get him to score a goal. But it didn't work. However much you practice, I think it needs to be in you to be calm. When you get into that penalty box, all the top strikers are calm in the box. Roll them in the corner. If you just smash it, it usually goes straight. And then who's in the middle of the goal? It's usually the goalkeeper. So you're better rolling them in the corners.
Okay, so that's for the fan questions. Now Hassan can continue.
So did you remain after you went to Middlesbrough, Clayton, and then you had your time in the Welsh League? Did you come back to United as a lot of we've seen the older pros do? Was Sir Alex still in charge when you came back?
I came back. Well, to be fair, the manager got me back in. I wanted to do a bit of coaching, and I love the club. I mean, I'd love to go back in there. It was a pity I'm not still there, but I'd love to be back in there. But he got me back in, and I loved it when I was there. And what they did, they sort of, I didn't really coach it. I did one team, and James Wilson's team was in it, and they went through the season unbeaten. They went right through the season, and then we got Chelsea to come up. I spoke to the Chelsea and 16 manager, because they played down south and we played up north. We were the best in the north, and they were unbeaten down south. We brought them up, and half time we 1-0 up. James Wilson scored. He's hit the bar, and I've seen what I needed to see. But we've then got to, because of the rules with the academy, everybody has to get a game. So we had 3 players. One of them obviously he left the following year because he wasn't good enough, and we knew when we brought him on, it changed the game, and they ended up winning the game. But I knew what I'd seen was that team was good enough, and we should have kept with them. And what we did, we ended up leaving 4 go. I mean, I remember ringing Brian McClare saying, "Why are we getting rid of him and him and him?" And they're all improving. One went to Reading and was doing well down there. Sam Smith, there was another one then. This couple went to Sheffield, but 3 of them played first team football before 18. And when we got to the under 18s, we got knocked out in the second round by Huddersfield. James Wilson scored. He was ill at the time, but we brought 3 or 4 players in. We left 3 or 4 go. And I didn't like the way we were organising it. Somebody was like getting rid of them. And I'm like, why? They're unbeaten. You've got a team here who are unbeaten all season. They came out, they give Chelsea's team went on to win the Youth Cup. That's the team we were winning at half time against. Yeah. And then they won the Champions League the following year. Yeah, they didn't get rid of any of their players. Yeah. So I didn't, there was a few things that weren't right. They needed to speak to us. I mean, the lad I was working with that team, he'd been with them for a year or 2. He'd done a lot of work. They were relentless. One of the lads, Otis Khan, I think he's gone to Mansfield. He's gone around a few clubs now. I remember he was at Sheffield United, and he went on Ninja. Have you seen the thing, Ninja Warrior?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He went on that, and he blitzed it. It took him 1 minute 30 to go through the course. Honestly, wow. But I played football with these. I used to join in, and I had to wear shin pads with this lot. They were crazy. Under 16s, James Wilson, and they would kick lumps out of you. They were. I remember them beating Everton with 3-0 at Everton. They lose the ball, and they're like hound dogs going chasing after the ball. It would have been a nightmare playing against them. I was really upset that we got rid of we got rid of 4 or 5 players, and without talking to me and Andy Smith, who's the other lad who's now left to go to City.
Clayton, you spent a good amount of time at United, so I'd like to ask that Sir Alex Ferguson, in his managerial career, has been known to do some absurd things on the pitch, like playing Fabio and Rafael on the wings against Arsenal. Like, it did not make sense to us as fans. It may not have made sense to you as players, but on the pitch, it worked. Do you remember anything of the sort he did while you were as a player?
Well, I'm not bothered with that because he used to do it with me all the time. So it might have been my fault that he started using players in different positions.
Because you were the first one.
Well, for him probably. I played in every position for him. It was mad in every position, every number. But you've got to be. I mean, if you're a footballer, you need to be steady, and you should be able to play in any position for me. It's like Ryan Giggs. I've seen him play left back. Ryan drop back because somebody was injured, and like thinking, wow, he could make a fantastic left back with Ryan because he's coming forward. You don't have to defend that much. I mean, what you got to look at, if you're in a United team, you're going to get 75% of the ball, probably. So you need to be attacking all the time. And that's what, I mean, I love attacking. I didn't like the defending part of it. It's a bit boring.
And Ryan Giggs actually played left back against West Ham in an FA Cup match.
What was it?
In 2013, I think, yeah.
Did he score?
Yeah, he gave a fantastic assist from left back to Van Persie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he
there
has
you go.
that in his
There you
locker.
go. Oh, he's scary.
Yeah.
He's a scary man. If Ronaldo hadn't come to the club, he would have been the best footballer who's ever played for United.
Absolutely.
I've played with George as well. I played with George best when he was 42, and Ryan was faster.
Ryan is
a lot more agile as well. But I mean, what you got to think of when George? I mean, George could have got better as well, obviously, because the pitches were bad in there. Like when we played them, pitches have got better and better, and they're brilliant now. But you know, in those days, there was no coaching. I've seen the difference from when I played schoolboy football for Wales, and I played at Wembley, and I'm just playing off the cuff. I'm just making it up as I go along. And then I did it 20 years later when I'd finished playing. I managed the same team, and they were all playing as teammates. They were like doubling up. The right winger was helping the right back. The left winger was helping, and they're playing as a team. Well, we were playing as individuals. So the difference, you know, it's such a big difference now. All the coaching for players, like I say, the goalkeepers are better than they used to be. I mean, I've seen some of the goals in the old days, and the goalkeepers like very, very, very dodgy. You could call them all Scottish.
Oh, yeah, you've spoken about Marcus Rashford and Greenwood as well. I want to talk to you about your countryman, Dylan Levitt.
Yeah.
Have you seen him play, and how good do you think he is?
I know Dylan. It was funny, about 2 or 3 years ago, he was picking up his cap in Cardiff, and I was on my UEFA A license refurb. You do it every 3 years, and I said to him then, I can see it now. 2 or 3 years you'd be playing for Wales first team, and you know,
and he is.
He's a really good midfielder, very, very good midfielder. He's good on the ball. He moves well with the ball. He's a great passer. He's got the vision. He's got everything. He scores goals. He gets forward. He does everything a midfielder should do for me. For me, he's a very exciting player, and I'm hoping he gets in soon. It's going to be hard.
Yeah,
that's the problem, you know. But that's what it should be. It needs to be hard. He should be playing in League Cup games because he can't get in the first team. Because you got
him and James
Bruno.
Garner both. Yeah. Him and James Garner both fighting for the first team spot. It will be a good battle. Hopefully both make it.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy's a Scouser. We can't hold that against him. But no, he was a centre half when he was growing up. He was a centre half, and he's a good player. Reads the game well, and he gets stuck in. He's very streetwise, and
got a good shot on him.
Yeah, he scored a few goals, didn't he, from distance? He didn't used to do that because he played centre back, but. No, he's a good footballer as well. Like I say, you need to be able to be a bit of everything. He reads the game well, and for me, it's a big thing. If you can read the game, you usually get there before it happens.
So, Clayton, how are you feeling about the return of football now at a time when there's so much going on, and you know, fans obviously can't be a part of it for the foreseeable future? As someone who's played at the highest level with Wales, played at the highest level in the Premier League, it is surreal for all of us.
Yeah.
But do you think that given what's going on in the country right now, Scotland decided to cancel the league. We've seen a few other leagues also go ahead with it. I mean, are players being put through too much just to get the game back?
I think there's somebody in the FA who's a Liverpool fan. I mean, who's that? Chris, I've got the Villa game on here. Christian Purslow or something. He's sat there with a mask on in the stadium, and there's nobody in the stadium. The stadium's empty. Whatever you do, don't watch. Don't watch Aston Villa, Sheffield United. It's 0-0 after 88 minutes.
Wow.
They shouldn't have bothered starting up again.
That's what we're thinking here. I mean, yes, it's a lot of people think it's also because of the broadcasting, but I'm thinking to myself, a lot of people are not going to want to watch the games when there's no fans. It's a different thing for the players. It's a different thing for the fans. Are they doing more harm to the game than they're helping?
Well, I mean, I don't know what. I mean, the big thing for me is if somebody gets it, if somebody's got COVID, like I said, I mean, I've had the flu, and you pump it around your body. As an athlete, running around on the football pitch for 80, 90 minutes, you could have it just before the game, and then by the end of the game, it's right through your body, right through your system, because you've pumped it right around.
Yeah.
And if a player dies from it, the guy who's give it the okay, he could be up for a few problems for me.
Yeah, because you're putting lives at risk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's so dangerous. I got the flu right when I was at United, and because I was that scared of Eric Harrison, the youth team coach, I wouldn't tell him, and I kept playing, and in the end, I couldn't see. I kept playing till I couldn't see, and I walked over to him and said, "I've got to go. I can't see." And I remember Jim McGregor running out of the medical office and saying, "Keep an eye on him," because I was sat on the bench, and it's about 4 foot off the floor, sorry, and he didn't want me to roll off it. And I could hear him saying, "I'm serious, keep an eye on him." He thought I might have just rolled off. And I was out for 2 weeks with it because I'd pumped it around my body. I was ill, but I didn't want to tell him I was ill. I just thought I'd got to get through it, just keep going, just go on with it. They might think I'm soft if I, tell them I've got a cough or something or a cold. But it was a lot worse than I thought. But like I say, you just don't know. You've got coaches with masks on. Some of them have, some of them haven't. I don't know. It's a weird one for me.
It definitely is.
Clayton, I wanted to ask about your current employment. I've heard that you're a youth coach at Dynamo Brest.
No, I've left. I've just left now. Luckily, I left just in time because they're still playing over there.
Yeah, but with fans.
The boss, but the boss man in Belarus just said, "Just drink more vodka."
Yeah, that's what
it seems to be working. The thing is that you don't know how many have died. They won't tell you how many have died.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's really difficult to get in there. I mean, I was coaching every year, and I remember we got Brian McClare to come over and just do a chat. And he was at the border. He flying to Warsaw, and then he came across the border, and it took him 3 hours to get over the border. The border's like half a mile, and it's just a nightmare. There's borders all the way along Belarus and Poland, and you just got to pick the right one. So you need a good driver who is on the phone going, right, he's ringing all of the border, which one to go to. So I can imagine there's not a lot of people who've gone in there.
Yeah.
They won't let people in, they won't let people out.
Okay, so Clayton, if we can get your views about the end of this season, do you think we'll get top 4, and do you think Ole will stay on and prove to be a success as he says he would?
Well, I hope for me, he needs to buy again. And when the players he brings in now, the next ones he brings in, that will define for me whether he'll be staying or growing. I think for me, you've got to give him a chance. So you can't keep changing managers all the time. You get another manager in, unless they want to give it to me, I don't mind. I'll go manager. No, but I mean, you need to give somebody time so he can build a team. You don't give him a year and then all of a sudden, we'll get somebody else and he'll another year. And then you're down that line. I remember laughing at City years ago, and they were paying 4 managers because they were sacking him all the time.
Yeah.
Peter Reid came in, sacked him. Somebody else came in, sacked. And you're like, wow, they're paying 4 different managers at the same time. And you don't want to be getting down that line. You got to give him a chance. He knows. I mean, the only thing I'd thingy with him is he's not really played 4-4-2 enough for me. I think 4-4-2 is the best system. I've played in every system, and it's the best balanced system, defensive and attacking.
Clayton, if we can go back to the time when Sir Alex came to the club, you guys would have been aware of his achievements with Aberdeen, doing well in the Scottish League. When Big Ron was sacked, Big Ron was fairly popular. But when Big Ron was sacked, at the time when Alex Ferguson came in, as a group of players, did you think that, okay, if he gets enough time, he can be the person who can make a difference? Or through the struggles, were you thinking to yourself, wow, he'd be lucky if we make it to 1990, because it doesn't look like Sir Alex is going to be able to cut it?
No, I mean, I think the problem you've got with United, I grew up with it. With United, every game is a cup final. You grow, as a kid, you see that. People like Daniel James now come into the club, he wouldn't have got that. You know, he's gone into a club now, he's having to play full tilt all the time. He's got to play 100% all the time. All of them have. Otherwise, you'll get turned over, because teams come, and especially, you know, in the last few years, we've made ourselves easy to get beat. So teams now fancy coming. If I now play for another club, I want to go to Old Trafford. I'm going to show the United people there that how good I am. And that's what every player does. You're actually on trial a bit. You can go there and it's like, I've just watched what's his name, Villa. And, you know, he played really well against us last year. What's his name?
Grealish.
Grealish played really well. And like he's nearly with us. Yeah, you know, he's a stone throw away from coming to us because of the way he played against us. And that's the problem United teams have got. Everybody coming to United wants to be playing for Man United. And that, to be fair, that used to be Fergie's thing as well. If a team came in and beat us, you'd be like thinking, well, maybe we should get them and play them instead of you. So that's the problem you've got as a player for United. If you're not better than the opposition, he should probably be at Man United instead of you. So you've got to make sure you're better than him. I think in the old days it was great because 4-4-2, everybody played that system. So you had battles all the time. He's your man. He's your man. Now and again it would change, but you've got the same guy all game, and you've got to win the battle with him. And then you've got to help a few of the other lads now and again if they're in trouble.
Okay, so Clayton, one last question from my side. Which United current player, ex-player, manager, coach are you closest with right now?
What player am I close? My roommate, Mr. Hughes.
Okay.
Mark Hughes.
And my next question would be then quite ambitious. That could you ask him to come on our show?
I'll ask him.
Yeah, that would be brilliant.
I'll ask him. I'll see what. I mean, he's
a busy man.
He's got to watch it because he's you can ask him different questions.
We'll ask him whatever he says. No issues.
The problems he's got is because he's still looking to be manager somewhere. And again, I mean, I'm trying to think who else.
Maybe your ex-manager, Big Ron.
I don't know if I've got a number for Ron. I'll ask him. I think I've got a number for Ron. Still, because he plays a lot of golf as well. I bump into him a lot, and I'll give him a call. I'll try and find somebody.
Thank you.
Hopefully, because as with you and as with other MUFC legends we learn a lot. I'm reading all the comments and everybody's so excited by obviously because you were at the start.
They've heard I'm going to make a comeback.
Yes.
Is that why they're all excited?
Yes, we're all waiting to get you into the midfield.
Yeah,
and one day, if you become MUFC manager, then we can say that we had the current MUFC manager on our show.
You can be my backroom stuff.
Oh,
we'd be delighted.
We'd love to.
Clayton, we also make it a point of always, saying hopefully when things settle down and get better around the world, we'd love to host you in Pakistan. The fans here are crazy about the game. They're crazy about the club. We spoke to Keith Gillespie and David May is up for it whenever it gets better. So if United sort something out, we'd love to have you out there. And as we tell them, of course, as well, you don't need to go to India. We've got much better food, but you'll be grand when you come out to Pakistan.
Cool. We'll have to get a game on.
Yeah.
Get some of your
Our
legends.
captain.
Get a few legends. No, I mean, you can get the legends, and we can bring a team over.
Nothing better for us than that. The more of you, the merrier. You know, we'd be over the moon. I know Giggsy's been to Pakistan with Ronaldinho and a few other people. He really enjoyed his time here. He was here for 3 short days. But just him being here for us as fans, I think we were queuing outside the hotel, and he was amazed. My brother met him, and he said, "What are you guys doing? It's 7 a.m." And he said, "It's you. You know, we'd queue up for you to see you anywhere." So for the fans, it would be great to have all of you guys here. Hopefully, a Legends game would be great for the profile of the sport. Because it's growing amongst the Pakistani community. You know, you've got a big Pakistani community in the UK. So the sport's growing amongst them. And a lot of our national team for Pakistan now is guys who were born and raised in the UK or even play lower league in the UK. So the two countries are connected that way through football as well.
That's good.
We've got Lou to offer us free fish and chips if we all show up at Old Trafford. So I don't think he's looking forward to it because there's 100 of us.
Is that his shop? Has he still got that shop?
Yeah,
I never see it open. It's never open.
No, I think it's only for the games. He'll probably close it before we show up too, because there'll be 100 of us. So
that's been there 30 years or 40 years. That.
Since while he was even playing. So I remember both the times I went to Old Trafford, I made sure I got something from there. So we would love to have you over. And it's been such an honor for us, such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for taking out the time to educate us, to talk to us. It just means the world to us.
Thanks for your hospitality, speaking to us and all that. It's been great.
Thanks a lot.
Keep the faith as well. Keep the faith.
Always. Thank you. Please take care of yourself, Clayton.
And you guys.
Stay
Keep safe.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
See you all.
Bye.
Bye.